Good morning. May peace be upon you. I am Professor Irfan Shukr and we are going to talk about sampling today. Well, if you remember, in our past 3 lessons, we have been building a very strong foundation understanding educational research. In the first video, we explored the IMRAD structure, learning how to organize research paper into introduction, methods, result and discussion. In the second video, we broke down the research paper headings, making sense of what each section means and what it should contain. From there, in the third video, we discussed the difference between qualitative and quantitative research, understanding how words and numbers are used differently in research. After that, in the fourth video, we explored the 5 most common research study design which are used in research in education. Today we take the next exciting step forward, and that is sampling. When planning a research, 2 big questions naturally arise. Number 1, what should be the number of participants? Number 2, how should we select them? So therefore, how many participants do I need? This is called technically sample size. The numbers depend on your research design, the population you are studying, and the level of accuracy or confidence you need. We are going to discuss these terms. Remember, in quantitative research, large sample size help to ensure that the results are statistically meaningful. Whereas in qualitative research, smaller sample size is used, often until you reach saturation where no new ideas are coming from the data. You may use tools like sample size calculator or refer to previous studies for guidance about the sample size. Second, how do I select my participants? This is called as the method of sampling or sampling method. Now there are 2 main types. Number 1 is random or probability sampling, also called as random probability sampling, in which every participant has an equal chance of being selected. For example, if I want to do in the research of a class and there are 100 students in that, those 100 students will be the population. From that population, if I have to make a sample of, I want to select 20 students, which is going to be sample, then each and every student should have an equal chance of being selected. This reduces bias and improves generalizability. Non-random, non-probability sampling, everyone does not have an equal chance of being selected. This is often used in qualitative or exploratory research. Now is sample size. Whenever we do a thing in a structured way, it is better. So kindly follow the steps to determine the sample size. And the steps are: know your population size. This means how many people are in the group you care about. For example, all 500 students in a school. Step 2 is decide how accurate you want to be in your research. Obviously, you want to be very accurate. This involves choosing margin of error, how much error you are willing to accept. The recommendation is you should not be willing to accept more than 5% error. Other is confidence level. How confident you want to be that your results are robust. Recommendation is that you should always choose a confidence level 95% or more. Then these are selected using standard rules or software will prompt you to choose. So what is the software? The next step is use a sample size calculator or a free online tool, and there are names like RawSoft sample size calculator or SurveyMonkey calculator. What you have to do, simply enter the population size, the margin of error, the confidence level, specify whether your population is large or small. It will then provide the required sample size. Now once it provides your required sample size, then you know your participant, you know the culture of research where you are doing it. Based on that, last step you adjust for dropouts. If some people might leave the study or not respond, add 10 to 20% extra. That is always good to do. Now remember, if you are conducting complex studies, such as clinical trials, which are very, very important because human life is involved in that, or comparing two groups, you may need to consult a statistician for precise calculations. After all, this all is statistics, and you and me don't have that much knowledge of the subject of statistics. Now, what are the sampling methods? How to select the participants in a study? Sampling methods are employed to select participants for a study. They are techniques used to select a subset sample from a larger group population for research purposes. I know by now you must be very clear about the definition of sample and the population. As I gave you example, if I am interested in doing research in all cars, let's talk about cars, then all cars is the population. And if you choose 80 cars from that, that will be the sample size of the cars. Accurate sampling ensures the sampling accurately reflects the population, making certain that the findings are relevant to the entire group. Before doing this thing, we must understand the word random. In everyday life and in research, their meaning is different. For example, in everyday life, if I am talking about randomization, it means, let us say, I randomly pick up this thing, so it's a marker. So therefore, in everyday life, when I say I picked up randomly this marker, when we describe something as random, we usually mean it was unplanned or occurred by surprise. It's unplanned, I just picked it up. In research, when we say random, it also means done by chance, but it is done in a planned, careful and fair way. For example, if I plan this thing, that I will start from this and every sixth I am going to pick up, then I am picking up and selecting in a planned, careful, fun and fair way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So therefore, this torch has been selected, although it is by chance, but in a fair way in which everything in this box had equal chance of being selected. Main uses are a random selection, selecting participants by chance, not deliberately chosen, ensuring everyone has an equal opportunity to take part in a study. For example, a researcher has a list of 100 students and uses a computer program to randomly pick 20 of them for a survey. And second is random assignment, allocating the participants to different groups such as experimental and control group by random assignment. For example, using methods like a coin toss or random number generator, so that one decides who goes into which group. One does not decide, it is by chance. So let's talk about random sampling or non-random sampling. First, we must know what is the difference between random sampling and non-random sampling methods. I have already discussed that. Let us revise it. Random sampling, this means you select participants randomly, everyone in the group has equal chance of being selected. Example, 100 student population, use random number generator, 20 students selected, a subset of the population. But the important thing is, no one receives special treatment. It is a very fair selection for all. Non-random sampling, this means the participant from a population does not have an equal chance of being selected. Example, you ask the first 20 students, which is a subset of the population, the sample from a class of 100 students, which is the population, who enter the class to participate in your study. So whoever first is coming, you are selecting them. It's quicker but not fair, obviously, because every student does not have got the same chance. Random sampling. Let's go into little detail of the different type of random samplings. Randomized sampling methods are simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified random sampling, cluster random sampling, multi-stage sampling. Let me revise: simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified random sampling, cluster random sampling, and multi-stage sampling. Let's talk about simple random sampling. Everyone in the group has an equal chance of being chosen, like drawing names from a hat or using a computer. Example, you randomly select 10 students from a class of 50 using a random number generator or an app that we have discussed. Let's take the second, systematic sampling. You select every kth number from a list. First you pick a random starting point, then choose every 5th, 10th and so on. Example, you start as student number 4 and then pick every 5th student on the list like 4, 6, 14, etc. You remember when I did sampling from this thing? This was systematic sampling, a type of random sampling. Third is stratified random sampling. You divide the population into groups, strata, based on characteristics like gender, age and grade, and then randomly select from each group. A very simple example is, from boys and girls separately, so therefore you have two groups of strata, one group is of boys and one group is of girls, and from these strata you randomly choose 10 students from each. Because let us say in my class there were 150 students, which is the population, and in this population there are two groups. One is male and female. The females are 100, the males are 50. Now both groups are to be represented, so therefore in 50 students I applied a random technique, and also applied a female, girls also apply a random technique, like every 4th till we get 10 in each. That was the sample size of 20. Fourth is cluster random sampling. You randomly select entire group clusters, not individual, using when the population is dispersed and very large. Example, you randomly pick 2 out of 10 school sections and include all students in those sections. For example, if I want to do research in all 32 schools in my city, now it's very large and dispersed, therefore I choose 2 schools that could be on the basis of randomization, that there are 32, so I am going to choose the first and the middle one, if I place them in alphabetical order, and then all students from that school will be included. Just give you an example. And then obviously you can use more than one method, as in previous examples I was also telling you. So that will be called as a multi-stage sampling. You combine several methods. First randomly select clusters, then randomly choose individuals within those clusters. Example, randomly select schools, then randomly pick students from each chosen school. Now the key point is all these methods are random chance to avoid bias and make research more fair and accurate. Now coming to non-random sampling, the second type, or non-probability sampling. They are one, convenience sampling, purposive judgmental sampling, quota sampling, snowball sampling, and voluntary self-selected sampling. I repeat, convenience sampling, purposive sampling, quota sampling, snowball sampling, and voluntary sampling. Now, convenience sampling, you pick people who are easiest to reach. No planning, just wherever is nearby. Now remember this thing, it is not randomized. It is non-randomized. So therefore, don't have to worry that every participant should have an equal chance. Example, you ask students in the front row to fill your survey because they are closest. Simple. Purposive judgmental sampling is you intentionally choose people because you believe they are the most suitable for the study. Example, you only select students who scored above 90% because you want to examine top performers. Then there is a thing which is called as quota sampling. You assign a specific number quota for each group, then select people non-randomly to fill this position. Example, you want 10 boys and 10 girls, so you choose the first 10 boys and 10 girls who agree. Snowball sampling is you begin with fewer participants, then they assist you in recruiting more participants, like a snowball expanding. Example could be you interview one medical student and they introduce you to the others to include in the study. Lastly, when you talk about sampling, is voluntary self-selected sampling. People choose to participate in a study themselves. The researcher does not pick them. Example, you post a survey online, everyone who's interested fill in, and this is pretty now common also. Okay, that is all for today, and thank you very much for joining me in. Although it is a little lengthier and there is, I believe, little cognitive load. But if you hear this video a couple of times, and as I always say, please don't go in one go. Listen to it for 1 or 2 minutes. Give it a break. Then recollect in your mind what you have heard, what you have listened, which will be called as a recall, active recall. Then again you hear this video for a few minutes, then again stop. And you do a spaced repetition, meaning by you hear this video a couple of times and give gap in between also. This way you're going to remember much more. This information is going to go into your memory much more. So thank you for me now. Enjoy the day. And today's sunshine is outside, is there. It's a brilliant weather over here. And it's summer more or less, and summer is there. But the flowers bloom in summer are there. And what a breeze nowadays is there in the evening and the night. See you soon into the next video. And then we are going to go into methodology more deep. So next we are going to talk about how to collect the data and how to make the data meaningful. That is data analysis. Thank you very much. See you soon. Bye bye. May peace be upon you.